I think I've definitely gained more weight with this pregnancy than I did with the last two. This is more in line with like the weight that I gained with Spurgeon's pregnancy. I'm feeling good though, so I'm thankful for that. Ivy is very excited. I feel like for having just turned 2, she has a pretty good understanding of babies, and she's really looking forward to having the baby here. And I think Ivy will probably experience some normal jealousy, just of like mom has to hold the baby and feed the baby, and she thinks that that's her place in mom's lap. So
it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. I am so sorry. I tried to upload that video like 3 times. Did you just see that chaos that happened on my channel? I was having some massive audio issues and I apologize, but this is my second video of the day. It is Friday, June 11th, and I am so late. It was the first day of summer vacation for my son, and I don't know how any parent can resist their little one saying, "Mommy, can we just spend some more time together this morning since it's my first day and I don't have to go to school?" Of course. So I had a very long morning with my boy and I loved every minute of it. And that meant that videos were a little bit late today, so I do apologize. But we have an update on Jessa Blessa. So I was perusing my YouTube and I saw she popped up with a new video, and we haven't really talked much about Jessa in just the context of Jessa. I feel like everything on this channel has really been focused on Josh and all of that chaos. Blessa is pregnant. You know, Jessa Blessa is pregnant and she's about to have her 4th child. And she has some exciting news and I was shocked with this. So let's talk about gender reveal, birth plan, and all that stuff. And I think we have some understandings of where people stand right now with the Duggars based on this video by Jessa. So let's get into it. Jessa Blessa Duggar Seewald, she has a history of post-natal, like post-delivery hemorrhaging. It has happened in her 1st and 3rd babies. She has had to be transported after having a home birth to the hospital to receive Pitocin. She got like her 2nd birth, it did not happen, but so if you recall, she was supposed to have a hospital birth last time, but for some weird reason her doctor was out of town, and so she decided to deliver at home. Even though you can have a baby with any doctor there, it could have just been that she wasn't comfortable or whatever, so she decided to deliver Ivy at home on the couch, you guys, the couch that everyone calls like the birth couch, that brown couch that she has, where she delivered Ivy. So she had Ivy and then she had the complication and had to be transported to the hospital to receive Pitocin. With this pregnancy, people were super, super worried. They're like, Jessa, do not risk this because the hemorrhaging can get worse progressively as you have more children. And the last thing people wanted was for her to have a complication that she like could not come back from. So she shared this.
So Ben and I talked this over a lot and we decided that we're going to do a hospital birth this time. So that'll be different. I've had 3 home births, 3 great home births, good experiences, no complications with the birth itself, but I have had postpartum hemorrhage 2 times with my 1st and my 3rd.
Now her rationalization for this is that she says that they make this decision because of this history that she has, and then she expanded on it by saying that in the state of Arkansas, they have this really weird rule where a midwife cannot carry Pitocin.
It's kind of frustrating in some sense because most of our neighboring states, midwives are allowed to carry and administer Pitocin at home in the home birth setting, and Arkansas just doesn't allow their midwives to do that. That's a little frustrating. I wish our midwives could do that. They're very skilled and very capable, but since that's how it's set up in Arkansas, we decided that because of my history, we're gonna plan for a hospital birth this time.
So it sounds like Jessa is going to have the baby in a hospital, and it sounds like Jessa is going to maybe use an epidural as well. And it sounds like she is ready to go, like her sisters have prepared her for this. And the interesting thing that I thought out of all of this was that she said that with COVID, she was worried that she wouldn't be able to have her mom there with her. And Michelle apparently is going to be there with her, and so she's going to be delivering with Michelle.
I told my birth team, my family and stuff, I'm like, yeah, if I go to the hospital, I'm probably just gonna end up getting an epidural. I have sisters and sister-in-laws who had epidurals, and I'm like, okay, this sounds good. I think I've done the natural thing 3 times, and I wouldn't be surprised if I just got an epidural. I was worried with like the COVID stuff, if I would be able to have my mom there, and now I can. So our hospital allows 2 people, so I can have Ben and my mom both there. So I'm really excited about that.
And Michelle has gone through a lot of births. Obviously, she's been at her daughter's home births in the past. It was her that actually called 911, I think, for Spurgeon's birth, where she said that Jessa needed to go to the hospital. So she has assisted and sort of provides support while her daughters are in birth. So Michelle is going to be there, which tells me that Miss Jessa is probably very much still on Team Duggar, which explains her statement that she put out that sounded very much like her parents. And when she was talking about Ivy getting ready for a new sibling, she was talking about how she's been working with baby dolls with her to get her prepared. And if you remember, Jessa's baby girl has all those baby dolls that she got for her birthday. She was talking about how her mom was a really good mom. Check this out.
My mom was always really great at just including the older siblings and making them feel like they're part of the process. And so I think that's something we're gonna try to do a lot of, is just like help mommy pick out the outfit and bring baby a toy, and letting them be involved as much as possible helps somewhat with that jealousy.
So the thing that I always find interesting about Jessa more than any of the others is that when anything is going wrong, when everything's going chaotic and the Duggars are not getting the best PR or publicity, or they're not getting the best stories in the news, and if, say, Michelle and her dad are taking a lot of heat, she is like the first child to defend her parents. In this situation, she didn't flat out like defend them, because she's not really addressing any of the criticism that they've been receiving, but rather sort of reinforcing that she believes her parents are good parents. Like, my mom was so good about letting the big kids get in to help. My mom's gonna be at my delivery. My mom is going to be in, reinforcing this idea that she and her mom very much have this tight relationship. And then finally, she talks about how gender reveal.
We decided that we are not going to tell our kids before, that we're gonna wait, and when the baby's born, we're gonna tell them first. So they'll get to know gender and name and all of that, and then Spurgeon and Henry will be the ones who get to announce that to grandparents, aunts, uncles, and cousins. So that's kind of the compromise we came to. And
so not shocking at all, Jessa is not going to reveal the gender of her baby. She has not done this with any of her previous births, so I wouldn't expect that. The other thing I noticed was that she said that this is the most weight she's ever gained in a pregnancy, and she's having some pains through her pelvic area. So overall, this is what I got from Jessa. Jessa is going to go to the hospital. She's considering having an epidural, and she is it sounds like a little bit salty about going to the hospital because of the laws related to midwives not being able to have Pitocin. So part of me wonders if Ben was the one that had to sort of convince her that she needed to go to the hospital for this one instead of doing a home birth. There was a lot of speculation with her last birth at home that, one, she made up a story about how her doctor was not in town, or her midwife was out of town, or something like that, where she couldn't go to the hospital, which didn't make sense, because you don't have to have your doctor in town to deliver a baby. You literally just go to the hospital, and a doctor on call will help deliver the baby. So people felt like that was used as an excuse for her not to use the hospital, which made people worried that with this current pregnancy, she would do something similar after having yet again, another hemorrhage. The biggest thing with Jessa is that people are always concerned that she has this sort of martyr complex that's super common in this cult, where women feel like giving birth is sort of like this benchmark of you're entitled, like you're suffering, and that by giving birth without any medication, you are really giving into, you know, what your body is capable of doing and submitting to God. And so by using medication and going to the hospital, people are always thinking like, oh, she doesn't want to do that because she wants to be a superwoman. And nobody here has anything against whether you've decided to go pain-free with an epidural or natural. It all depends on the person. With Jessa, the concern has always been that people had felt like she has maybe been putting her own livelihood at risk in order for her to reach this accomplishment that is promoted so heavily in these circles, where women are discouraged from going to the hospital, they're encouraged to have home births, they're discouraged from using any medication, they're really given misinformation about all kinds of facets of childbirth. And so people have been concerned that if any of the Duggar girls were to have a major complication, it could be Jessa. So I'm happy here that she's going to use a hospital. I hope she sticks with that. I also am glad she has been understands the severity of what she's gone through and understands the risks of why she needs to do this. So her baby's coming. She's never really specified what the due date is. She's in the 3rd trimester, which means it's coming anytime in the next 3 months. It could be next week, or it could be 3 more months from now. So we really don't know. She's never said. So Jessa Blessa is going to the hospital. She might use an epidural, and Michelle is going to be there, meaning Jessa is still very dependent on her parents. Jessa is still not going to separate from her parents. If Counting On were to return, Jessa would likely return with the show, and Jessa is likely not going to sever ties with her parents at this point, it seems, because of that dependency that she has both financially and emotionally. The sad reality of this is that some of the kids in this cult will never leave simply because of their brainwashing and their dependence. And it's sad because she and Ben have become so dependent on the Duggars, in my opinion, simply because he works for them and financially their lives depend on not upsetting them. So I don't know if we're going to see a reunification with Jill and her sister Jessa, and if Jessa will ever break free, but for now she's on Team Duggar. All right, you guys, tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye, guys.